The Sustainable Development Goals define the global priorities for development towards a sustainable society. They cover social and economic issues like poverty, hunger, health, gender equality, education, global warming, environment and social justice. To a great extent, the SDGs are directed to outcomes that contribute to the fulfillment of human rights. Human rights are the conditions for people to live well and live in dignity. Originally, human rights were seen as the responsibility of states. By signing international treaties, states obliged themselves to respect, protect and fulfill human rights. But human rights have increasingly become a company's business too. An important start for a company's strategy to contribute to the achievements of SDGs is to respect human rights. This means avoiding human rights abuses, either directly through their operations or indirectly through their subsidiaries and value chain partners. Let me give you some examples. Oil companies have been accused of causing large-scale pollution, thus creating negative impacts on the right to health and the right of farmers to make a living out of their land. Fashion houses have been linked to child labor, unsafe workplaces and payments far below a living wage, thus abusing various labor rights. Financial institutions investing in large infrastructural projects have been accused of contributing to forced evictions of local communities from their lands without proper compensation, hence infringing their rights to a home. The worldwide standard for companies to respect human rights can be found in the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights. To meet this standard, companies should have a due diligence process in place, through which they can identify actual and potential negative human rights impacts, not only in their own operations, but also by their subsidiaries and their value chain partners. Where these UN Guiding Principles focus on business responsibility to minimize negative human rights impacts, the UN Sustainable Development Goals invite companies to create positive impacts for the societies in which they operate. At the same time, creating such positive impact often first requires that negative impacts are minimized. Companies react differently to societal expectations to respect the conditions for a sustainable society. Hence, they contribute differently to sustainable development. In the management literature, 4 different attitudes are identified: an inactive, a reactive, active and a proactive attitude. Inactive companies limit themselves to complying with binding legal duties, and even that in a limited way. Reactive companies comply with the UN Guiding Principles, but only in as much as is necessary to protect their reputation. By contrast, active and proactive companies not only take their responsibility to respect human rights very seriously, they also realize positive societal impact by actively contributing to one or more SDGs. Let me give you an example to illustrate this. Let's assume a company aims to contribute to SDG 5, gender equality. This means that the first strategy of the company should be to respect human rights and ensure that women are not discriminated against. Additionally, an active or proactive strategy would be to positively strive for gender equality, thus empowering women to become more aware of their rights. To conclude, on one hand, contributing to the achievement of one or more SDGs starts with respecting human rights by not causing negative impacts. On the other hand, companies can further contribute to the achievement of SDGs by creating positive societal impact, by actively protecting and fulfilling human rights. And there's no trade-off. Human rights abuses in one part of the company's operations cannot be cleaned or cleared by doing something positive elsewhere. The UN Guiding Principles to respect human rights, to do no harm, and the SDGs to create positive impact are 2 flips of the same coin.